Digital cameras, even though they're very powerful these days, still don't know exactly what it is you're shooting. For example, it doesn't know this is a cat, so instead it gives it a digital name. It looks at my cat and says, this object is called DSC00834. So this is really not helpful to a human being, especially when I want to do a search later on. So I have a couple of images of Everest, and if I'm trying to find her a couple of years from now, I'll never remember this. So I'm going to show you how to batch rename images so they make more sense to you, and also help you search things later on. So I'm going to simply click and drag select all the images in the Adobe Bridge, and then I'm going to go to Tools, Batch Rename. The Batch Rename dialog appears, and it gives me quite a few options to choose from, such as where it's going to rename the images and put them. So I can choose to rename and save in the same folder. I can rename and move the images to a different folder, or I can copy the images to a different folder. Copying is often the choice I choose so I don't mess up, which I'm prone to do from time to time. So I'm going to now choose Browse and give it a location on my desktop, and I'll just call it Everest 2. Create, and then choose. Now I get to choose how I want these images to be named. As text, the current file name, new extension, preserved file name, and so many others in here. I'll choose text. Here I can then name the images. I'll say Everest. And I can choose the date created, the year, the month, and the date. I can have a different text field. And the cool thing about it is I can always, change these parameters. I can also, if I want to, look down here and take a peek at what's going to happen once I choose to rename these. I can also get rid of some of these fields by clicking on these little negative signs here. So if I don't want some of those, I can get rid of them, or I can click to add parameters. You'll always see the update down here. So it's going to go from DC whatever to Everest.jpg. The problem is there are 5 images. 5 files will be renamed, but they'll all be renamed Everest. That's also not going to help me. So I'll add a different parameter. I'll add the text name and, let's think here, a sequence number. So it'll be Everest 001, Everest 002, but since I only have 5 images, I don't really need 00. Maybe 1 digit. So it'd be Everest 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Or if you like, you can choose 01, 02, 03, 04, 5. If that's enough for you, that's fine. But if you want to add more parameters, click the plus sign, and then you can choose from the list, and you can keep building this. I'm going to go ahead and just accept what I have here. So once again, I'm going from the current file name to the new file name, and 5 files will be renamed. It's going to go to this folder once the operation takes place. Let's go ahead and hit rename, and I'll be able to then check on my desktop. Let's see if I can find this new folder here. Everest 2, I'll double click on it. And here's Everest 01, Everest 02, and so on. So I'm easily able to batch rename images so they make a lot more sense to me, and so that later on I can search for them here in the search field, or I can search for them on my hard drive using Spotlight on a Macintosh and find these images.